I'm Caleb.
And I'm Abby.
And this is our love story. So Abby and I first met when we, I guess, matched on Cross Paths, which is an app. So the old-fashioned way of finding love, I guess. I had just gotten back from a missions trip in Nicaragua, and I think I had gotten home and I have just been scrolling through it. I took a break from looking at it, so trying to find my future wife so that I could focus on the missions trip. And then when I got back, I was scrolling through, saw this really beautiful Indian girl, and I hearted it, and when we matched, and then I sent her a message as fast as my fingers could type so that I could seize the moment. And then you responded back pretty quickly.
Yeah. It was a really good message. It was a sweet message. It was different than I think what you usually get on a dating app. He said something about how he enjoyed reading my profile, which is very nice. And he put a lot of effort into his messages. At that time, I had gotten kind of tired of online dating, and I was deactivating my profile. And his match still went through after. And I think that was probably because I had indicated that I liked him before he had liked me. And so even though my profile was deactivated, it still went through. And we began talking, and somewhere in there, I was still finishing my undergrad, and I had finals, so I let him know that I was going to be MIA for a few days, and that I wasn't ghosting him.
Even though that's what it felt like in the moment. I was like, oh, man.
And I did kind of almost forget, but I was walking back to the car after my last final, and something told me, like, you told that guy you were going to message him back, and, like, don't lie about it. And I did. And we've been kind of inseparable ever since.
Yeah. We've been dating now for 2 years and how many months? 3?
Yeah.
About 2 years, 3 months. I went out to visit her in person. So after we started talking, it was the very end of November. It was Thanksgiving when we first met. So throughout November, December, we had been talking, just getting to know each other, and then into January, and then finally I decided that it was time for us to meet in person, which was a big step for me because I had never had any success with online dating. Never actually met anybody in person from it, so this was a big step for me. So I flew out to California first time, flying all the way out there, and we met in person in February, and
that was after we started officially dating and after we said I love yous. So we had FaceTimed every single day since almost a week after we first matched online, or after my finals were done, or something like that.
Day.
Every single day for hours.
So thank you, FaceTime.
Yes.
We didn't have to write letters or do carrier pigeon or anything like that.
We're so grateful. And even that was hard enough, so I don't know how other people do it. But we kind of knew, and it was scary to say all of that stuff before we'd ever hung out in person. But it still ended up being really great. And what we had over our phones was still there when we met in person.
Yeah, and then I came to visit you once more out in California, and then she came out in August of 2019, and then that's when I proposed. So at that point, I think that by about May or June of that year, like I had gone out to one of her friends' weddings with her, and I think that was probably a big push for me, just because at that point we knew
that was not my plan.
we knew already that we wanted to get married at some point, but it was up to me to start pushing the whole thing forward. So I was really nervous. I had no idea what to do. First time for this, obviously, and I knew I wanted to get her a ring. But being like across the country, we couldn't just casually walk into a jewelry store at the mall or anything like that. So I told her, I'm like, hey, so obviously we know we're gonna want to get married, and the engagement's gonna have to come first. So I'm thinking we'll do that by December. And by that December of 2019 was what I told her. Like by the end of the year, December, we'll get engaged. So just give me an idea of what kind of rings you like and what's your style, because I don't know, and I certainly don't know anything about rings just to begin with. So we kind of just started talking casually about that. She sent me different things that she liked, and then
I sent him a lot.
Yeah.
I tried to send him a bunch of different cuts because I wanted it to be from him and his choice. But the only thing I told you was that I really wanted was a very thin band and for it to be yellow gold.
Mm-hmm.
And that was it. But I did send you a variety of things. I remember I made collages on my phone.
Yeah, you're good at that. So then I took that information that was supposed to be for December and purchased a ring within a couple weeks of getting all that information. And then she was supposed to be coming out in August, which was around her birthday. And I said that was the time when when I was gonna propose. So I ordered the ring, and then of course the ring wasn't supposed to be shipped until that week that she came in. So the whole thing was already stressful. And so she comes out in August. I finally get the ring, and I'm trying to hide it in the house, make sure that she doesn't see it. I'm like trying to get my parents to make sure that they guard it with their life. And my plan was that I wanted to take us hiking, and I'm sure you remember I was pretty adamant about us going hiking.
Yeah, I didn't. So I love hiking, and I wanted to go with him. It's beautiful up there in Pennsylvania, and and I had no clue, and I should have known. My parents kept making comments because he had asked my parents before, and for the record, I love to say that my parents are in love with Caleb. They adored him even before we ever met, actually, and very much have always seen him as their son, and that's been a huge confirmation too for our relationship, that our families have been a huge part of us being together and in our relationship, involved in our decisions, and also very much his parents have taken me into their family and likewise. And so my parents, before I'd come out, they were planning a trip to India. They were going to India to visit some of their family. And it was I was leaving just a day or two before they were to go see Caleb. And my mom kept making comments about, let's go get our nails done. And my dad kept giving me marriage advice, and I didn't pick up on any of it. I thought they were just Indian parents can be very involved in your life, and it's not strange at all for my mom to say, you should get your nails done or get some new clothes. Like, that's not odd at all, so I didn't pick up on it at all. And then we came there, and we had made plans for the week. Let's go hiking on Monday, because he was off on Monday. But he insisted that it had to be on Wednesday when he was working later that day. And I didn't understand why you would want to go hiking on a day when you had work. And it didn't click that maybe you had something planned.
Yeah. Yeah, so...
because the ring was going to come in.
Yeah, the ring was still coming in. So then that morning, we got up pretty early. And I have this red box that had a ring in it, and I had a pair of like cargo shorts on with the pants, and so I stuck it in the side, and so it's like sticking out the side of my leg, pretty far. And we're like in the car. I'm like, oh man, I hope she doesn't see this. Like, I wonder what's in my pocket. And so we stopped to get something to eat, and I'm like trying to switch it to the other side of my leg because I'm driving, that way she doesn't see it. And then we go down to Maryland to Cunningham Falls, which is a pretty nice place. It's not like a crazy hike, but it's just really pretty. And she could tell I was really nervous and didn't really know why. I'm like, oh, I'm fine, whatever. And so we started hiking, and then I'm just like, all right, I got to get to this place where I'm gonna propose, because otherwise I'm gonna start freaking out because I'm just nervous. And so I start powering up that hill as fast as my legs will take me, and she's trying to keep up with me. And then finally we didn't get to the top of the mountain, I don't think, but I found a good spot, and I probably because I couldn't take waiting any longer. But we found a really nice spot that was the trail had kind of broke off to the side, and it kind of flattened out a little bit, and then there was just this really open area. Kind of like a grassy field, but then there was a bunch of trees. It was just really pretty. So I'm like, oh, hey, let's get some pictures. I got this tripod just for pictures, and which I never did that before. But
I should have picked up on that too.
And then I set up the camera, and
he told me to turn around to take some photos, and that he was going to take some photos of me. Again, I don't know why I didn't pick up on that. And then, so I turned around, and then he said, okay, Bubba, turn around. And I did, and he was on one knee. And he asked me to marry him.
Yeah, and so...
And I said yes.
That's thankfully, yeah. She said yes. But yeah, I mean, up until that point, I already talked to her parents about it. I talked to her her cousin and her friend from school, because she wanted them to be in the loop with everything. And ideally, I mean, looking back on it, like we probably would have liked to have them all there or just around so that we could have celebrated afterwards. But
it's okay.
They
get to celebrate with us now.
It was good.
Yeah.
So that was probably one of the biggest events while we were dating. But we have had a lot of fun, despite having to be across the country. We've had a lot of good memories.
That's probably what we're most excited about in regards to the wedding. It's just that we finally get to be together, and we don't have to say goodbye at the airport anymore. And we get to do a lot of the normal stuff, like grocery shopping and just things that you need to do in life together. We're excited that the wedding's a start to that, and we get to celebrate that with our dearest friends and family, especially before I moved to join Caleb in Pennsylvania.
Yeah, and we were kind of, before this, we were talking about how it's nice to finally have all of our family together at one place, because her parents came out to visit me and my family, but Abby couldn't come out that time. And so it's nice. I mean, even my own family that I haven't seen for a while is coming out for the wedding. So it's just really nice to be able to have that. My friends that are going to be here. My best man now. I was at his wedding, and we were always really close through college. So it's just really nice to be able to have gone to his wedding, and Abby came with me for that, and see him get married. And I know he's excited to now do the same for me and her. To see us get married. And just excited, like we were saying also, that this is finally, like this trip, we finally don't have to say goodbye to each other, because we've been having to do that every time we have to fly to see each other. So we don't have to do that anymore. We can fly back together, start our life together.
So how would you define love?
Well, I mean, love for us, especially for us, we hold to a biblical view of what love is, unconditional love, putting the other person before ourselves, and me putting her before me, and she does a great job of putting me before her. So a lot of sacrificial love, just working through things. Like we're in this for the long haul. We've had fights, like anybody has, but we're going to work through everything that comes up in life, and we believe that God brought us together. So I think a lot of it's just love is showing each other what God's already shown to us, and then just being by each other's side. And also, just besides that, it's just like it's being with our best friend. It's like there is that idea of just like the feeling of love. Like we've fallen in love with each other. We love each other, the personality, everything about each other. So there's so many different aspects of love, but I think that's what I would say. All that to define it for me. How about you?
I'd agree. I love what you said about love. I think too, you said there's that part of it that's the feeling, and we used to talk a lot, and especially the early part of our relationship, about how much of love was a choice, and how much of it was a decision that we would make to be with each other, because it was a choice to have a long distance relationship. It was a choice to go through some of the hardships that we did together, and it's going to be a choice when we face difficulties together, which we know that we will. But Christ has chosen us, and he has loved us unconditionally, and I love the word steadfast in relation to that, faithful, steadfast love that is kind and gentle and long-suffering, even when there are moments that, especially me, I may want to run or hide, that's not what's asked of us. Love is to be vulnerable and also to choose to accept the grace and love the other person has offered. So that's what I would define love as. Yeah.
Well, that's our love story.
Yeah.